A double Torah portion this Shabbat, Vayakel Pikudei, concludes the book of Exodus. 6 chapters total describe the building of the Mishkan and its sacred appurtenances. The purpose of the Mishkan is glorious. It will be the portable sanctuary where the Israelites meet with God during their journey through the wilderness. Just as thunder and lightning, fire and smoke manifest God's presence at Mount Sinai, God's presence will continue on the journey in the pillar of cloud by day and fire by night, connecting with the Mishkan. Nonetheless, if we read this double portion out of context, all the details of the construction, from the exquisite gilding of gold covering the Ark of the Covenant, to the brass tent pegs, 6 chapters worth of details, our eyes might glaze over. So here is the first lesson we learn from Vayakel Pikudei. Reading the Torah out of context invariably will get us lost in the wilderness. Priceless gifts abound in this Shabbat's double portion. To unwrap but a few, we need to revisit last Shabbat's Torah portion. The people built the golden calf. For the sin of building the golden calf, God would have destroyed the entire Jewish people then and there at Mount Sinai, if not for Moses' intercession on their behalf. All the Sturm and Drang in last Shabbat's Torah portion form the dramatic prelude to the many precise details in this Shabbat's Torah portion. The Torah is typically taciturn about people's inner lives. It rarely tells what people are thinking or feeling. We are left to draw our own conclusions about people's inner lives from what people are doing. And the people's focus on all these details of building the Mishkan in our Torah portion, a double Torah portion no less, with twice the emphasis lest we otherwise miss it, all reveal what the people feel. Relief. Do you sense the finger of God? Our double Torah portion for this Shabbat is perfect for March 12th and 13th, 2021. This Shabbat we mark the 1-year anniversary of COVID-19 enveloping our lives. March 12th, 2020, we learned that COVID-19 had come to Pittsburgh. News media reported that Allegheny County's first cases had been confirmed the day before. 2 cases. We had also learned that the World Health Organization had officially declared COVID-19 a worldwide pandemic. My experiences last March 12th may sound familiar. I went shopping to stock up on necessities. At the department store, aisles of essential items had been stripped bare. At the market, a man a few feet in front of me coughed. The aisles were so jam-packed that I could not help but walk right into the cough. Not until April 3rd would the CDC advise wearing masks. It was a jarring lesson that going to the market had become potentially life-threatening. If you were out and about last March 12th, you too saw that the look on everyone's face was grim. The next day, Friday the 13th, then President Donald Trump declared COVID-19 a national emergency. Pittsburgh went into lockdown and shelter in place. A year later, surely we feel a sense of relief. It may not be a hearty heave of relief from the depths of our being. In light of all that this last year foisted upon us beyond COVID-19, compounded by a future as yet uncertain, it may only be a sigh of relief. but we are breathing easier today. Do you sense the finger of God? Our ancestors offer us another timely gift. Chapter 36 of Exodus begins with our ancestors bringing free will offerings to build the Mishkan. The people bring more free will offerings and still more until Moses pleads with them to stop bringing. Surely our ancestors' generosity bespeaks more than just relief. Our ancestors were also grateful. So are we grateful 1 year after COVID-19 first enveloped us. Some of us are fully vaccinated. More of us are partially vaccinated. 2 weeks hence, and many of us may gather in small, safe groups with loved ones to celebrate the Passover Seder. So ripe with meaning this year for its themes of the Jewish people's sheltering safely in their homes during devastating plagues, soon to be delivered from bondage. And soon, in a matter of a few months, all of us will be vaccinated. Do you sense the finger of God? There is yet another gift that our ancestors offer us by their actions. They are hard at work. In 6 chapters, they gather all the offerings of the necessary materials, fashion all the appurtenances of the Mishkan, and then in the final chapter of Exodus, they assemble the entire Mishkan. Their diligence, their unwavering attention to detail, bespeak humility. Way back in chapter 25, they had been told what to gather and how to build the Mishkan. 7 chapters later, the only thing they've built is the golden calf. Last Shabbat, we read that 3,000 died for the sin of making the most infamous of all idols. Surely the entire people were chastened and humbled by this episode. Thus, they now turn to the divine task of building the Mishkan with consummate care, born of humility. No doubt the 3,000 dead also left behind loved ones, mourning their loss. Grief is a rare emotion, simultaneously painful and loving. Grief is also humbling. Looking back upon the past year, especially the weeks on end when the United States mourned more than 3,000 deaths daily from COVID-19, all of us should feel profoundly humbled. And for the almost 530,000 American lives taken by COVID-19 over the past year, our grief is tinged with frustration. Couldn't this nation, aspiring to greatness, be so much better? If only there were a vaccine to heal all that divides us, a vaccine to open blind eyes and closed minds, a vaccine to eradicate ignorance and hate. Thankfully, we do have the gifts given to us by Vayakel Pikudei. So thank God for the gift of relief we've been given this Shabbat. But let relief not dissolve into complacency, not now, not ever. Thank God for the gift of gratitude we've been given this Shabbat. Gratitude is God's finger strengthening our hearts and uplifting our souls, empowering us in turn to strengthen and uplift other hearts and souls. Thank God for the gift of humility, to teach that each one of us plays a unique and irreplaceable part in this world. Humility is the cornerstone of unity, of all humanity being one and with the God who is eternally one. As for grief, with grief comes the question, could I have done more? The pandemic persists. Now, especially, let grief motivate us to work tirelessly on our God-given tasks, individually and collectively, inspired by our double Torah portion, to double our efforts to make our entire world our ultimate Mishkan. In facing whatever may lie ahead, and with Vayakel Pikudei now concluding the book of Exodus, we say, Chazak, Chazak, v'nit chazek. Be strong, and let us strengthen one another.